Your follower count just crossed 10,000, and for a moment it feels like the business is finally working. The chart is up, and to the right, the number is bigger than it was last month, and something in you quietly relaxes. That is the exact moment to be careful, because the numbers that feel the best are usually the ones that change the least about your actual business. Today I want to walk through vanity metrics, the numbers that look impressive and climb whenever you push on them but never quite turn into money, and how to tell them apart from the ones that are genuinely worth watching. I'm not a growth guru. I'm someone who runs small businesses and has decorated more than one dashboard with numbers that made me feel good and told me nothing. I have watched a sign-up count climb for months while the bank balance sat perfectly still, and I have celebrated a traffic spike that sold precisely nothing. So this is less a lecture and more the filter I now run every metric through before I let it onto a screen I look at every day. None of it needs new software, only a harder question asked of the numbers you already have. Or what a vanity metric actually is. A vanity metric is any number that goes up and to the right, looks great in a screenshot, and does not change a single decision you make. That is the whole definition, and the last part is the one that matters. It is not that the number is fake or wrong. Total signups, page views, followers, downloads, these are all real counts of real things. They are vanity metrics only in the sense that knowing them on their own does not tell you what to do next. They feed your mood, not your roadmap. What makes a metric actionable? The opposite of a vanity metric is an actionable one. And the test is simple. An actionable metric ties to a specific decision, so that when it moves, you know what to do differently. If signups are climbing but the share of new people who actually use the product is falling, that second number tells you to go fix onboarding. The first just tells you the top of the funnel is busy. A metric earns a place on your dashboard when a change in it would change your behavior and not before. The one question that sorts them. So here is the single question I ask of every number before it earns a spot. If this metric doubled tomorrow or halved, what would I actually do differently? If the honest answer is nothing, I would just feel a bit better or a bit worse, then it is a vanity metric and it can live in a drawer somewhere, not on the screen I steer by. If the answer is a concrete action, ship this, cut that, call these customers, then it is actionable and it has earned its place. That one question does most of the sorting for you. The classic vanity metrics are the ones every tool shows you by default, because they are easy to count and they almost always go up. Total registered users, cumulative downloads, page views, email subscribers, social followers, total revenue since launch. None of these are useless, but each one flatters you because it only ever grows and it never subtracts the people who signed up and then quietly vanished. A number that can only climb is a number that has stopped telling you the truth about this month. The trouble with numbers that only go up, that is the deepest trap in the whole subject, the cumulative total. Any number you add to and never subtract from will rise forever, no matter how your business is actually doing. Total signups since launch goes up, even in a month where more people canceled than joined. Total revenue to date climbs even while this month is your worst yet. A metric that cannot fall can never warn you, and a metric that can never warn you is decorations. The fix is almost always to stop staring at the pile and look at the flow instead. Turn a total into a rate. The cure for most vanity metrics is to turn a total into a rate or a ratio. Instead of total signups, look at signups this week against last week, and how many of them reached the point where the product did something useful for them. Instead of total users, watch how many were active in the last 7 days as a share of the whole. Instead of cumulative revenue, track the revenue that recurs this month against last month. The moment you divide that big flattering pile by something, or compare it to a period, the number gains the power to fall, and only a number that can fall is able to teach you anything. Why they feel so good? Vanity metrics are not an accident. They are comfortable by design. They go up when you work hard. They are easy to explain to anyone, and they almost never make you feel like you are failing. That is exactly why they are dangerous. A hard metric, like the share of new users who stick around, will sit still or even drop while you sweat. And that stinging honesty is precisely what makes it useful. The numbers that make you feel best are usually the ones quietly protecting you from the numbers you most need to see. How they sneak onto your dashboard. They sneak in because they are the default. Open almost any analytics tool and the first thing it shows you is a big cumulative count with a cheerful upward line, because that is the number that keeps you opening the app. Nobody sat down and chose to track vanity metrics, they simply accepted the ones the software put in front of them. Building an honest dashboard is mostly an act of deletion, throwing out the flattering defaults and keeping only the handful of numbers that would actually change a decision. The real cost of watching the wrong number. The danger is not just wasted attention, it is wasted work. Once a vanity metric is up on the wall, you start optimizing it, because that is what people do with a number they can see. You chase followers with a giveaway that attracts people who will never buy. You push signups with a discount so steep the new customers lose you money. The metric climbs, everyone claps, and the business is quietly worse than before. A vanity metric does not just fail to help, it can actively pull your effort toward the wrong things. When a measure becomes a target, there is an old idea worth knowing here, usually called Goodhart's law. And in plain English, it says that when a measure becomes a target, it stops being a good measure. The moment you tell yourself or your team to make a particular number go up, people find the easiest way to move it, which is rarely the same as improving the underlying thing you actually cared about. That is why picking the wrong number to chase is so costly. You will hit the target and miss the point, and the cleaner and shinier the number looked, the more completely it fools you. Pair every metric with its check. The practical defense is to never let a flattering number stand on its own. Beside every metric that can only go up, put the one that can go down. Next to new signups, the activation rate, the share who actually reach value. Next to traffic, the conversion rate, the share who do the thing you wanted. Next to total revenue, the revenue that recurs, and the customers who churned. The vanity number sets the scene, and the honest number beside it tells you whether the scene means anything at all. Read them as a pair, and neither one can lie to you alone. A soft metric still earns its keep. None of this means you should delete every big count in a fit of purity. A vanity metric can be a perfectly good diagnostic, as long as you are honest about its job. Traffic that suddenly drops is a real warning, even if traffic on its own does not pay the bills. A follower count can be a rough gauge of whether your audience is growing. The rule is not that these numbers are forbidden, it is that they are context and not scoreboard. Watch them out of the corner of your eye and steer by the metrics that actually tie to a decision. The one number worth steering by. If all of this feels like a lot to juggle, the shortcut is to choose a single metric that genuinely reflects customers getting value from what you sell, and let it anchor everything else. For one business, that might be weekly active customers. For another, it might be orders that repeat. For another, the revenue that recurs each month. The point is not the exact number. It is that it is hard to fake, and it moves only when you are truly doing better. Everything else on the dashboard is there to explain why that one honest number went where it went. The version for a business of one, for a solo operator, the whole thing gets simpler, because you have less time to waste on numbers that only decorate. Pick 3 or 4 metrics that each map to a decision you actually make. Put the honest rate next to any flattering total, and ignore the rest no matter how good they look in a screenshot. You do not have a marketing team to impress or a board to reassure, so you are free to keep only the numbers that tell you what to do on Monday morning. That freedom is one of the quiet advantages of being small. The honest limit, and here is the limit on all of it. No metric, vanity, or actionable can make a decision for you. And even the best number is a summary of the past pointing loosely at the future. The goal is not a perfect dashboard. It is an honest one, a small set of numbers that can fall as well as rise, and that each connect to something you could actually change. Call a vanity metric what it is. Keep the 1 or 2 that serve as useful context, and spend your real attention on the handful that would genuinely change your mind. That is the whole discipline, where the details live. Every one of these explainers lives in writing at dataresearchanalysiscollection.com. The whole metric library in plain English, with a longer worked list of which vanity metrics to pair with which honest ones. I keep it honest there for the same reason I keep it honest here. No promises about your results, and no pretending that a rising chart is the same thing as a healthy business. Read it slowly with your own dashboard open, and you will start seeing which of your favorite numbers have been quietly flattering you. So to recap, a vanity metric is any number that looks great and changes no decision, and the tell is that it usually only ever goes up. Turn your totals into rates and ratios so the numbers can fall, and finally teach you something. Pair every flattering count with the honest metric beside it. And remember that the moment a measure becomes a target, it stops measuring well. Keep a soft number or two as context. Steer by one hard number that only moves when customers truly win. And ask of everything else whether you would do a single thing differently if it doubled. Next time I want to talk about the North Star metric and how to choose the one number a whole small business can line up behind. I will see you in the next one.